Hello everyone and welcome back to Marvel Crisis Protocol, and here's a cameo by my dog. Nope, never mind, she moved at the last second. Anyway, today for you we have a 17 threat match between the Brotherhood of Mutants, once again featuring the Juggernaut, and 17 threat worth of the Inhumans with a guest to help them out. On the map you can see before you, so without further ado, let's look at the teams. So despite only being a 17 threat match, there are 5 minis in the Brotherhood of Mutants team, largely because Magneto isn't here taking up a fair chunk of it himself. So they're being led by the other leadership option, Mystique. So when they interact with an extraction, they get 1 power back, so it's essentially making it a free interaction more or less. And they can put a marker claiming secure objectives that disappears if an enemy gets close. Juggernaut is here, as previously mentioned. He's the muscle of the team this time around. He'll be stomping through stuff and never stopping. Then we also have Toad, Sabretooth, and Quicksilver. Their tactics cards are Deception, Weapon X Program, which isn't just a Wolverine card, Sabretooth can use it too, Asteroid M, Do You Know Who I Am, and Making a Ruckus. And there's also 5 miniatures in the Inhumans team, being led by Black Bolt of course, but could not fit Medusa in this time. But Miss Marvel is here. She is obviously an Inhuman as well, so she fits into this affiliation. Lockjaw, Crystal, and then a little guest fighter in the form of Hood. Hasn't seen much use on the table, plus he brings some Mystic damage to a team that may or may not be useful, like if Juggernaut gets on his flip side he becomes super weak to Mystic for instance, so it might be interesting. And their tactics cards are Inhuman Royal Family Medpack, Elemental Infusion, Attilan Rising, and Last Minute Save. And here are the 2 crisis cards being played today. The Extraction, 17 threat, is Spider Infected, so there is 5 Spider Infected on the map. You can only hold 1 at a time, and in the power phase you may be moved by the Spider Infected squirming. Then also the secure is the 4 Infinity formula on the map. You get 1 victory point for each one you're securing, and in the power phase you gain 1 power if you are contesting. So we can take a look at the map real quick. Serums are underneath the Spider Infected, but the 5 Spider Infected are 1, 2, in the middle there for 3, 4 and 5, and as said the 4 corners have the Infinity Serums underneath. So we are all set up at deployment and good to go. The Inhumans are on your left and are taking first activation. The Brotherhood of Mutants are on your right. 5 miniatures in each side as previously stated. We can quickly take a look here. We have Sabretooth, Quicksilver, Juggernaut, and then Toad and Mystique up there in the ruins of that building there. And then over here we've got Miss Marvel up here, Hood next to Black Bolt, and then Crystal next to her faithful pet Lockjaw right there. So with that we can jump straight into Battle Round 1, see how this plays out. It was the goodest boy Lockjaw who got the game started for the Inhumans, and Who's a Good Boy did kick in because Crystal was right next to him to give him 3 power, of which he spent 2 on an action to teleport her forwards within 3, so that is where she's ended up. And then he himself just moved small for his other action, spent 1 power and picked up the Spider Infected that was over the top of that Infinity Serum. First activation for the Brotherhood was Quicksilver, and which was pretty much expected of him, which is why the Inhumans didn't really focus on the centre. He dashed forwards, 1 long move was not quite enough, so he did have to use both actions to get within 1 of the central Spider Infected, and he picked it up. So he's got 1 of them over his shoulder, Lockjaw's got 1 riding him like a pony, and there is 3 more on the table. Well, the attempt at retaliation to Quicksilver's activation didn't go quite as planned, but Black Bolt did activate. He moved up medium, which put him around the corner there and able to fire a range 4 energy bolt. 5 dice with Pierce into Quicksilver. There was only 1 success in the initial roll, even after the Inhuman reroll, and then Quicksilver fully blocked anyway, so it doesn't matter, no damage. So from the ruins of the building over there, Mystique activated, and her long move gave her more than enough to get within 1 of the 2 objectives that were there. She paid 1 power to pick up the Spider Infected, and that means her leadership kicks in. After all effects are resolved for interacting with an extraction, she gains 1 power back, which she immediately used to interact with the extraction, or secure rather, sorry, and did the other part of her leadership bonus where you put a claim down, but if any enemies come within contesting range it just magically vanishes, but it counts as if there's a character there, so that means no one needs to stay there necessarily unless the Inhumans make a move on it. Miss Marvel activated next for the Inhumans. She just moved up and paid 1 to pick up the Spider Infected that was over that Infinity formula and is now controlling that formula. Didn't do anything else with her other action. She's only got range, well, she has range 4 in her punch, but Mystique has stealth, so can't see her. Toad decided to change tacks and head in the other direction. He has wall crawler, so he could hop over the cars in here and whatnot without any hindrance. Double medium move got him there, which is within range 2 of the spider infected that was there, and he can interact with those from range 2 thanks to his tongue, so he just spat it out like a frog and sucked in the spider infected. But he is not contesting the Infinity Serum. Second last activation for the Inhumans was Hood, and he just medium moved twice to get on top of the car there for a little bit of line of sight of Mystique and close enough to Ms. Marvel to hopefully stop her being dragged off the objective by Mystique with deception or such. We'll see. And it's over to either Juggernaut or Sabretooth next for the Brotherhood. Well, of those two, it was time for the Juggernaut to act. He moved small once, which of course gives him 2 power thanks to his unstoppable momentum. And then he just moved small again over here. You only get the benefit of gaining power on a move once per turn. But it put him in a good position. He is securing that serum there. And he is poised to start ramming into enemies next turn. And it is over to Crystal though, because she did not have a turn. She got teleported up by Lockjaw to end off the first battle round for the Inhumans. So Crystal stayed where she was for her turn. She wanted very badly to get Incinerate on Juggernaut and did 2 volcanic strikes or volcanic blasts on him. Beam 3, 4 dice energy with Incinerate on a wild. Didn't get any wilds at all. Her first attack would have done 1 damage, but Juggernaut paid 1 for Nice Punch, which has no minimum, and it reduces damage taken by 1, so brought it down to 0. The second one did 2 damage, he reduced that down to 1, took the 1 damage, and essentially got a refund on the power he paid for Nice Punch. So all in all, she only did 1 damage to him with his 8 HP and was unable to set him on fire, which would have been very handy for him, I think. He's only immune to stun, and he can get rid of Stagger by doing a superpower. But yeah, Incinerate would have hurt him quite badly, I think. So it was Sabretooth to see off the end of battle round 1, and he was over where the camera is currently looking. He just needed 1 long move to get within contesting range of the serum there, and he opted to stop there so that he could take advantage of gaining extra power in the power phase when the Infinity Serum kicks in. Because yes, he could technically have double moved over here. There's no point though because he's outnumbered, so it would still go to the Inhumans. I guess he would technically get power over there as well. But at least over here he's surrounded by teammates and he doesn't get in the way of the Juggernaut potentially just ramming into both of them next turn. So here's how the points stand at the end of the first battle round. The Inhumans have 2 of the 5 spider infected for 2 victory points, and they are holding the serums closest to their deployment. Miss Marvel up there, Crystal and Lockjaw down here, bringing them to 4 victory points. The Brotherhood of Mutants have 3 of the spider infected for 3 victory points. Mystique, Toad and Quicksilver all holding them. Mystique, plus she interacted with the objective there to put down her marker, but either way that objective is being held, and the serum down here is obviously being held by Juggernaut and Sabretooth as well, putting them at 5. So 5 plays 4 as we go into battle round 2. The Inhumans retain first activation, and we'll start with showing where anyone holding a spider infected might get moved to, and remember that people within 1 of the Infinity Serums gain 1 power. So top of round 2, spider infected movement. Quicksilver was forced to move small and has been advanced right into Black Bolt's face. Miss Marvel also had to move and has been moved away from the objective and away from the placed one over there. And everyone else, I think, yeah, everyone else stayed still that was holding them. You have to roll a hit, crit or a wild, and those were the only 2 that suffered. So with that, into the turns proper. So the battle round got started with Black Bolt versus Quicksilver round 2, and the Inhuman King was not going to let him get away unscathed this time. He started with an Energy Bolt, 5 dice again, this time got a couple of wilds though, which made all the difference thanks to that Pierce. And managed to do 4 damage through to Quicksilver, which only left him on 1. But he wanted to make sure he took him down, so then he used, what's it called, Focus Power for 3? Yeah, which adds in 2 attack dice. So it became a 7 die. Utterly overkill, but he really wanted to guarantee that daze. He did 5 damage. He only needed to do 1 with that second punch. Quicksilver dazed, dropped Spider Infected, but Black Bolt has paid 1 to pick it up. So it was the Juggernaut who got the Brotherhood's second battle round started. He moved small to get into position, which also gave him power and added 3 dice to his attack if he decided to do it, which he did. He did I'm the Juggernaut, normally 7 dice physical, with Rush on a wild, becoming 10 dice. That said, the attack roll was okay, but Crystal pretty much aced her defense rolls. Only 2 damage got through from that. There was a wild though for Rush, and Rush lets him use Nothing Stops the Juggernaut for free instead of normally spending 3 power. So he's pushed small, and then if he contacts size 3 or less scenery, he's destroyed, and if he makes contact with a person, which he did, he kind of skirted down this way and came into contact with Crystal and the lamppost that had been there simultaneously, so the lamppost got destroyed. Not that that matters because it's not like Magneto's here. But he did 1 more damage to Crystal thanks to that impact right there, and he's well and truly on that Infinity Serum as well. So Crystal activated because she was sitting on a little bit of power, and once again used Volcanic Blasts on the Juggernaut. Didn't do any damage to him with both attempts. Did however get that wild, and you don't need to do damage to do the Incinerate, so the Juggernaut is on fire. Also during her turn, 2 tactics cards were put into play. Medpack, spend 2, heal 3, so that put her back to full power, or full health rather, and also Elemental Infusion. So she spends 2, and then from this point on until she's dazed or the end of the turn, if any enemy within 3 of her is damaged by an allied effect, then she can put Incinerate, Stun or Slow on them. Might not be the best play, we'll see. Things are getting messy in the park because Sabretooth decided to join in. His long move, he shot down the field into the melee going on here, and then tried to just use his basic claw attack on Crystal's back. Bleed and pierce on wilds. Didn't get any wilds, and she is again doing very well with her defense rolls. It's her attack rolls that are kind of sucking. She took no damage from him, so he's done. But that is now a draw currently on that Infinity Serum. Well, it was once more up to the goodest boy to sort out the problems down here. He activated, and Who's a Good Boy kicked in for 3 power, 2 of which he immediately spent on an action to teleport the Juggernaut within 3 and sent him over there to try and get him out of the picture for a while, and that does also mean the Inhumans are back to claiming this serum. For his other action, he attempted to attack Sabretooth and did nothing, and then he spent 3 on Interdimensional Bloodhound. You pick an enemy and allies get +1 die against them for the turn. He picked Mystique because she might get attacked by Hood and or Miss Marvel. So Mystique activated and her plan kinda backfired a little bit. First of all, she used Deception, which is not in focus. Oh, there we go. On Hood, because thanks to Miss Marvel getting moved by the Spider Infected, they were not within 2 of each other. So she picks a enemy within 4, moves them 2, as long as there's no one within 2 of them to like tell her, or to tell them, hey, it's Mystique pretending to be someone you know. So Hood got moved right next to her, which does also get rid of the marker she put down there, but whatever. And then she unloaded her pistol with rapid fire on a hit, and Hood's only got 2 physical defense. So it was expected that she would easily take him out. First defense roll he was rolling, 2 crits. Easily blocked. Second set of damage on the rapid fire, 1 damage got through there and he blocked that. And then for her other action she just fired her pistol again, and the first one got a much better roll. All wilds and crits though, no hits, so no rapid fire, but that did get through to him for 3, which, when he takes damage, he can also decide to change into the possessed Hood, which he has done, so he's now become a big horrible demon and is seeking revenge. Well, that plan well and truly backfired. Hood had enough power to do his Empowered Dark Lightning, which his possessed form has. Lots of dice Mystic Attack. It would also have dealt Shock, and on a wild arced into nearby enemies for 2 damage. It's really, really powerful. But it also forces him to transform back to normal afterwards, which is why he is back. He spiked hard against Mystique, and even though blanks were counting as successes, actually no they wouldn't have, because I think it was a Mystic Attack. But either way, it did enough damage that she got insta-dazed. She's got 5 health on her healthy side. And he paid 1 to pick up the Spider Infected that she dropped, and then for his other action just moved into position. And again he was forced to transform back into human. Now he's got 3 damage on him, and he's got rubbish energy and physical defense, so it's not likely he's going to hold on to, like, he was lucky to have survived those rapid fire pistol shots. I don't think it will happen again, but for this turn at least, he's doing well. Well, thanks to Quicksilver being dazed, Toad is the only person left for the Brotherhood, and he just moved into a more fortuitous position so that he's claiming that Infinity Serum and a little bit out of range 3 of Crystal. And it is over to, I think, Miss Marvel then to end off Battle Round 2. With the point spread going in the Inhumans' favour this turn, Miss Marvel just decided to get into position to score another one on that Infinity Serum there, just to give them a nice lead. Because they did well this turn, as we'll soon see as we do the point scoring next. So at the end of Battle Round 2, that was a massive point swing in the favour of the Inhumans, who were down a point at the end of the first Battle Round. The Brotherhood only hold 1 of the Spider Infected on Toad, who is also only holding the single serum canister that they hold 2. So they only gained 2 victory points there, taking them up to 7. The Inhumans, though, They have 4 of the Spider Infected, Lockjaw, Hood, Miss Marvel and Black Bolt all carrying 1 for 4 victory points. They hold the serum canister over there because Hood took out Mystique. Miss Marvel moved over there to hold that one, and Lockjaw and Crystal have priority over Sabretooth here. So that takes them up to a massive 11 at the end of Battle Round 2. Now the only negative about what happened in that Battle Round is the Brotherhood now take priority. So of course we're starting off Battle Round 3 by showing where people with Spider Infected got moved. Wasn't much movement, honestly. Black Bolt had to be moved, so he has been shuffled from there to there in the threat range of the Juggernaut. And Miss Marvel once again got shifted, so she's been moved away from there. Hood didn't get moved, Lockjaw didn't get moved, Toad didn't get moved, so everyone else is where they were before. So the first activation for the Brotherhood was the Juggernaut to try and take down Black Bolt. He moved ever so slightly, so unstoppable momentum kicked in for that 2 power plus 3 attack dice, and then he did his basic strike, which took it from 5 to 8, I think? Something like that, and he did that on Black Bolt. Black Bolt spent 2 on anti-graviton field to give himself 2 extra defense dice. It did 2 damage all said and done, which considering he was rolling 6 defense dice, was pretty okay. Frustrated though at the lack of damage, he then spent on, do you know who I am? So that is Juggernaut can spend 3, choose an interactive terrain feature or an enemy character size 4 or less within 2 and throw it long. He picked up the giant tree, and we count these trees as size 3 because they're above average in size, and whapped it into Black Bolt's head for another 2 damage. So I think Black Bolt's got 1 health left. So Black Bolt activated, since he might get dazed quite soon and was sitting on a lot of power, did not want to feed power to the Juggernaut, and instead found a play that I think worked out best for him. He medium moved so that he was within range 3 of Mystique, and he could do his range 3 Master Punch for I think 3 power or 4 power, and he synced in another 3 to add 2 dice to it, which is putting it at 9 dice. When it's resolved you get placed within 1, and then you can optionally throw it as well. But he went full in and it did 5 damage, and Mystique on her flipped side also only has 5 damage. So unfortunately the Brotherhood have lost their leader for the game, and Black Bolt is now helping Hood hold that serum over there. So Quicksilver activated. He was originally on the far side of that silver car. He spent 2 on a Cyclonic Vortex, which lets him move medium after it's resolved. 6 dice physical on Miss Marvel, did nothing to her, but did move him next to her. He then spent 2 on doing another one, and this one only got through for 1 damage. The dice have turned against the Brotherhood, I think. I think they see the way the wind is blowing. But that also gave him another medium move, so he is moved and is now holding the serum over there. So Lockjaw activated next, and Who's a Good Boy kicked in once again. However, I forgot to mention, during his last turn, I said for his second action he used his basic strike on Sabretooth. He did not. He was going to, but his basic strike is so weak, and Sabretooth is sitting on enough power to do his counter, where he does a claw attack and a move for free, or vice versa. So it was not worth it. So he did nothing with his other action last turn. This turn though, he teleported Sabretooth and sent him down there, just to be annoying, and then slightly repositioned as his other action, because again he doesn't want to give any dice or power to anyone or give them the chance to counter. Well, it was down to Sabretooth or Toad, and Sabretooth activated. He moved long but positioned himself such that he wasn't quite where he wanted to be on purpose, so that he could then use Weapon X program. Wolverine or Sabretooth can spend 3 to use this card. They're thrown small, they don't suffer damage from the collision, and Sabretooth is size 3, so he packs quite a wallop. Well, usually. The dice were not in his favour again. He threw himself into the best boy, and Lockjaw took 1 damage, and then from there for his other actual action he did a basic claw strike. It got through for 2 and also applied bleed on the wild. Well, the turn was not quite over because Asteroid M was also used. 2 Brotherhood characters can spend 2 to use this. You place one of the 2 characters not holding objective tokens within one of the other. Sabretooth and Juggernaut both played 2, so that the Juggernaut could get moved over here, so he's helping contest that objective there and putting some pressure on Crystal and Lockjaw now. Miss Marvel activated and moved back into position of that serum she's been holding on to the whole game. She tried to do her basic Morpho punch on Quicksilver, but he fully blocked it. So she spent 3 on taking out the trash, size 2, she can throw small, chucked him into the back of the forklift there for 1 damage, but more importantly getting him off that objective. So with the other objective currently contested, Toad isn't doing anything else with his activation other than just staying on that one to force Crystal's hand, because Hood can't get over here to make a difference. So this is a bit of an interesting one. Hood probably wants to stay where he is because he's holding a serum and he's holding a spider infected. Crystal, she's got options. She could potentially attack Sabretooth, attack Juggernaut, could attack them both at the same time if she's willing to hit Lockjaw for one at the same time as well. It's all 4 dice though, and she doesn't want to give Sabretooth enough power to counter again, and feeding Juggernaut power would be a mistake. Plus she's not going to take him out. He's got 7 health left. It's a little anticlimactic, but she doesn't need to do anything, which is the bad part for the Brotherhood. She can stay where she is, make sure that's contested. She can move away if she wants. She can go contest that one if she wants. It doesn't really change anything fundamentally, because what's happening on the other flank, down here with Miss Marvel, up here with Hood, Black Bolt and that serum over there, the Inhumans have actually already won. So at the end of Battle Round 3, we are at the end game, and let's just go over how the points shook out. The Brotherhood have 1 Spider Infected on Toad. Toad earned his points and more. He's only 2 threat, and I'm pretty sure he was earning victory points from turn 1 fully, and he was holding that serum there. So he gained 2 victory points, taking the Brotherhood up to 9. So it was a high scoring game all round, really. Dice rolls, I think, kind of screwed the Brotherhood over, particularly, what, 10 dice and 13 dice with the Juggernaut not producing more than 3 damage. Kind of rough. But the Inhumans, they still hold for the Spider Infected for 4 victory points. They hold that portal over there, sorry, that serum rather. The Spider Infected alone took them to 15. Holding the 2 serum canisters over there takes them to 17, above the 16 threshold to win. So yeah, we are at the game over state at the end of turn 3, which doesn't happen that often, especially in 17 threat matches. But yeah, we're done. So an unfortunate showing for the Brotherhood there, sadly, Mystique getting taken out. If there was no business of Hood with his 2 physical defense surviving 3 pistol shots. He should not have survived, and she did pay the price afterwards because that Empowered Lightning just did so well against her. Juggernaut's rolls in the middle of the map, not on par with how many he was rolling. Other than that, it was just kind of board control. They lost control of the Spider Infected. And the serum canisters, Juggernaut not rolling as well as he could have been, or not getting the results he could have been, with alongside Sabretooth not quite doing that great, like him throwing himself into Lockjaw. Should have just done 2. A lot of unfortunate rolls, but the Inhumans were doing really, really well with their defense rolls. Of course, they can reroll 1 thanks to being Inhuman. And yeah, they just, like, of all the other times Crystal's been on the table, she doesn't usually survive long for whatever reason. She's not got bad stats. I think she's 3 across the board defense wise. She usually doesn't live that long under sustained fire. She did use a med pack this game, to be fair, but usually she's taken out before that's even a possibility. So yeah, dice rolls went in Inhumans' favour in both terms of attack and defence that time. Brotherhood got a little unlucky. They still scored well, but they just couldn't quite make the difference in the turn order, like Quicksilver getting knocked off that point. That would have made it 16 though, so they still would have won. Was there any possible way for them to stop another single point? Yes, if Sabretooth had taken out Lockjaw, he would have dropped the Spider Infected. That would have put the Inhumans on 15. It would have given the Brotherhood another turn to perhaps turn things around, because a few of the Inhumans were getting close to being dazed. Hood is 1 away, Black Bolt is 1 away, Lockjaw is 3 away. So yeah, 1 more turn could have made all the difference, but we'll never know. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. I sincerely hope you enjoyed. See you next time for more. Until then, ta-ta for now.